Soulframe does not begin with a battle. It begins with a world that has already been hurt. When you first step into Alca, nothing explains itself. The forests feel tense, the ruins feel abandoned, but not empty. Something happened here long before we arrived. And to understand Soulframe, you don't start with enemies. You start with the land itself, because Alca is not a backdrop. It's a living world, and it remembers everything. Alca is not simply the setting of Soulframe. In the game's lore, Alca is treated as a living realm, a world shaped by balance between nature. Unlike many fantasy worlds, Alca was never built for empire. There are no ancient nations carving borders into the land, no histories of endless conquest. Instead, life in Alca existed in rhythm. Forests grew where they were meant to be. Rivers flowed, remembered paths. Creatures lived with the land rather than against it. Magic wasn't something imposed onto Alca. It flowed through it, naturally, quietly, and constantly. This is why Alca feels different when you explore it. You're not trespassing in a hostile world. You're walking through something that once trusted those who lived upon it. In Alca, balance was not enforced by law or kings. It was maintained by memory. Creatures knew their place, the land corrected itself when disrupted, and nothing lingered longer than it should. Even death returned to the soil. Even ruin was temporary. This matters because corruption in Soulframe is not just physical. It is something interrupting memory. When you explore abandoned settlements, you don't find signs of war, you find silence. That change begins with the arrival of the Ode. The Ode are not native to Alca. They come from another world, one already damaged, already failing. Their arrival is marked by the appearance of massive sky towers hovering above Midrath. These structures are not just monuments, they're instruments. The Ode did not invade Alca with armies, they descended with technology, the spell song. The spell song is not a weapon in the traditional sense. It alters perception. It reshapes memory. Those exposed to it begin to forget who they were. Communities lost their identity. The land itself became unmoored from its history. And through this disruption, the Ode began harvesting Alca. Not to destroy it, but to rebuild their own dying world. Alca was never their enemy. It was a resource. Corruption in Soulframe is often misunderstood. It's not a curse that fell from the sky. It's not a plague without cause. Corruption is what happens when a living world is drained faster than it can heal. When magic is siphoned, when balance is ignored, when memory is erased, the land reacts the only way it can. Rivers stagnate, forests grow warped and hostile, creatures become aggressive, fearful, unstable. This is not evil. This is trauma made physical. The world did not turn against its inhabitants, it was left trying to survive without them. Among the most powerful expressions of Alca's suffering are the omen beasts. These creatures are not random monsters, they are deeply tied to the land itself, ancient beings that once acted as part of Alca's natural order. Wolves, stags, bears tied to forests and field. Some were corrupted, some were driven mad. Some remain fractured, but alive. When you encounter an omen beast, you are not fighting an enemy. You are confronting a memory of what Alca used to be. And in many cases, your role is not to kill, but to restore. This brings us to the Envoy. The Envoy is not a chosen hero, not a conqueror, not a ruler. You arrive after the damage has already been done. Your power does not come from domination, it comes from connection. The Envoy can hear what the land is trying to say, can walk spaces others abandoned, can choose not to repeat the mistakes that broke Alca in the first place. Soulframe is not asking whether you can defeat the Ode. It's asking whether you can care for a world that's already suffered. Alca is wounded, but it's not dead. The forests still grow. the beasts still roam, and the land still responds, however faintly, to those willing to listen. Soulframe is not about saving the world in a single moment. It's about choosing again and again not to abandon it. And if this world feels alive to you, then maybe Alca remembers you too.